We got a package from Speedcube Shop today, and this one is no big deal. It's nothing huge. Oh, I should be gentle with these ones, because they're just little babies. This is a 50mm 3x3, and it is much smaller than a normal size 3x3. You could use this cube as your two-handed main, but usually cubes of this size don't perform quite as well, so I'm interested to see if this one is good. This is actually a great performing cube, and I think for 50mm, you could use this if your hands were small enough. Let's look at corner cutting. So 45 degrees, very easy. Let's go more than that. Line to line, not quite. Oh, no, it does it. And reverse corner cutting, that's easy. Can still do it. Wow, very good. Actually, really good. Where can it not? This is almost line to line. So it's almost gonna go in the other direction. Yeah, so it doesn't go there. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I could use this cube pretty well, but I don't think it's the optimal size for me. Oh no, this feels weird now. I don't really do one-handed anymore, but this calls for some one-handed turning. What do I even do for one-handed? Oh, I messed up. Did you see that? That was the last blindfolded time I got. Ooh, I'm getting better. Okay, let's see if I remember how to turn one-handed. I hope I don't forget my algorithms. I'm trying to remember what I used for this case. Oh no. The magnets are pretty strong, and I think it's good for two-handed, but for one-handed, I think it may be a little bit too strong. Now, when you first think about it, it might make more sense that one-handed should use stronger magnets, because if you have less control, then you should want the layers snapping into place. And that is true, but the problem is for one-handed, when you even start your turn, the magnets already want to click into place here before you start turning. Because of that, you have to turn even harder to begin with, and that extra strength is just harder for your hands, but also may cause you to overshoot the turn to like there. And with two hands, you can easily correct it because your hands can go in either direction. But with one hand, you have to do extra movements just to correct your turns. This is the mini 4x4. Let's try it out. So this is 56mm instead of the usual somewhere from 59 to 61. Wait a minute. This just feels right. This feels like the right size. So here it is next to my main, the Moyu Aosu WRM, and you can see it's not really that big of a difference. Maybe the size would make it easier to use 3x3 finger tricks, because the bigger the cube, the harder it is as I have to extend my fingers to actually get all the 3x3 stuff to work. But this is actually a really good cube. I was not expecting this. Okay, G-prims are still hard. I'm really curious if this is actually good or if I'm just getting a little too excited over it. So I'm gonna try doing one solve on it. Probably won't do this for the 5x5 because it'll take too long, but this won't be too long. This is a lot worse than my average, but I haven't practiced 4x4 in like a year. Okay, not a full year, but since the last competition, and I'm not really concerned about the time. I'm more concerned about how well I was turning, and everything felt fine. So this is actually a good 4x4. You know, I thought I was gonna look at these cubes and just have some fun with them, but these are actually really good, and that is really surprising to me. This 5x5 is 58 millimeters, so this again doesn't feel like too big of a difference compared to my main, the Chi Valk. This cube is a bit weird where I feel like the size is okay, maybe a little bit small just because the layers are now kind of being a little too small to always hit perfectly accurately. But the other thing is I just feel like the control, like maybe the corner cutting or the stability isn't all that great. And because of that, I make a lot more little turning mistakes on this compared to my main. But I actually think the size of this is fine. And especially if you have smaller hands, then this could actually be a really good cube for you. Just from first impressions, from having a smaller size, it doesn't seem like this cube really does anything that I couldn't already on the Valk. Like I could already do RUD turns. Not super consistently, I have to kind of play it safe, but that's kind of a similar thing here where I have to turn a little bit slower to get the RUD turns to be consistent. I found there's especially a lot of reverse corner cutting catches like this one, which doesn't happen on the better cubes, so I would say this one is not quite as good, but the size is certainly acceptable for me. Wait a minute. This one's not a mini cube. Oh, there is no 6x6 YJ mini cube. This is the X-Man Shadow V2. Honestly, I should have known from the primary internals. Okay, let's test this out. So in case you didn't know, the X-Man Shadow was the best 6x6, but now it's the MGC. Yeah, the MGC is going to be really hard to beat, and just from first impressions, I can't say this is going to be the one that beats it. Now, just a disclaimer, I could change my mind because big cubes usually take a little while to break in, but I do remember the MGC out of the box being a lot better than this. This seems to be catching a lot and is a lot slower. And that's one of the main things about the Shadow, was that it was very slow, and the MGC was so much faster and was so much easier to use. I remember just practicing for a few solves on the Shadow would make my hands extremely tired and make me have to stop practicing. And on the MGC, at first I wasn't faster, but I could practice longer, and then I improved much faster. I really hope this gets better with break-in, because right now I'm experiencing a lot of catches. It may just be because this is out of the box, but it doesn't seem as good as the MGC at all right now. To compare, here's the MGC, but it's not a fair comparison because this one is broken in and this one is not. But just to show what I mean by the speed, I can turn way faster and way more smoothly on this one. Even if some things about the Shadow V2 were a little bit better, if it stays this slow, I really don't think I can switch off of something that feels this good. So if you're looking for mini cubes, I think these are the best ones you can find. Maybe the 3x3 is a bit too small, but the 4 and 5 are legitimately good, especially the 4x4. These are really cheap, and together it's only $35, which is pretty much the price of a flagship of any one of these cubes. And it's even less if you use the discount code JPerm. Now for the 6x6, I will let you know if this is good in like the beginning of a future video. You could also check my PB sheet in the description where I list all of my mains. Right now, I'll give it a pretty low chance that the Shadow V2 will be my 6x6 main, but you never know. I will try to break it in and see if it ends up being better. Thank you to Speedcube Shop for sending me these cubes to review, and I'll put the links for all of them in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.